Hello, and welcome to Bring On the Medicine, a holistic healers summit. My name is Janae Robinson. I am the owner of Janae's Essentials in Burley, Idaho. I am a life coach, a yoga therapist, and the host of this summit. Today, I am here with Sheri Thompson. And Sheri is 57 years young. Her healing journey started when she got clean and sober 23 years ago. She knew she needed to reverse any damage that she had done in those years of being lost. And she went through many phases over the years and says that she's still molding and shaping it as she goes. She says that she loves that in the last 5 years, she has found her path, her purpose. She has found joy in her journey. And in turn, she shares everything that she's gleaned from all of her experiences with others to hopefully bring full circle body, mind, and spirit healing. So welcome, Sheri.
Hi, Janae. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be a part of this. I think what you are doing is just another connection in the shift in what's happening in the world.
Awesome. I'm so thrilled that you're here today. And really even just listening to your introduction of, molding and shaping and finding your path on this health and wellness journey. It really leads into the first question I have for you, which is, what does health and wellness mean to you?
It is very well-rounded. A lot of the times when we think about health and wellness, we think about what can we add in? What can we, vitamins, supplements, what can we add in? For me, it's about that too, but the main aspect about my business is I'm eliminating too. So we need to find out what toxic load we might be carrying that could be creating a boundary or something that doesn't allow us to absorb what we're trying to take in nutritionally. So when I like my hair follicle test, it tells me if there's mold, fungus, candida. So we need to find those things out, know how to eliminate them so we can elevate that wellness. But I've also had to eliminate a lot of things from my mental aspect. What kind of thoughts am I thinking? You know, the two most powerful words I have in my vocabulary are I am. And what I follow those with are the next most important. Is it going to be something positive and uplifting, or is it going to be something negative like I am not, or I am, and that cuts off that energy supply to elevating our health. So, I just look at health and wellness as, what no longer serves me. Let's get rid of that and let's open up that space where God lives and let that shine.
That is beautiful and such wisdom there. So not only are you 57 years young, but you're beyond that in your wisdom for sure. Eliminating, adding in, and assessing, right? Feeling the body, knowing.
Yep.
Do you do muscle testing?
I do.
Yeah.
Muscle testing is a big part. Even it and the more you trust that muscle testing, the more you listen to this intuition and you learn that it always has your best interest in heart, then you can actually just pick up a bottle or go to pick up something and you'll feel that spirit go, nope, that's not for me. And it becomes even more of a quick muscle testing. It's just a knowing.
Yeah,
And
and I muscle test too. And would you be able to just kind of quickly, for people that don't know what that is, could you just tell me how you muscle test?
so when I muscle test for myself, I make sure my energy is cleared. Usually the best time of day is before you've taken any supplements at all, where your body and spirit are empty of any of that. I'll pick up a bottle and I will just ask, in my left hand, because that's our receiving hand. I hold it to my solar plexus and I ask, is this good energy for me? You're on both feet, knees slightly bent so you're not locked in. And if it's a yes, your body is going to go forward. You're going to feel a forward momentum. If it's a no, your body will act as if it wants to go back. Forward is yes, back is no. A lot of times I get a take it or leave it, so it's up to me. But the more I recommend, the more you use it, the better it becomes. And you need to trust and listen to your body.
Right.
'Cause
It really is a form of intuition, right?
yes, because you are the medicine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You are the medicine.
Yeah, our body knows. I love that. I love that. And when I was putting your interview together and getting a hold of you, you had told me that you were traveling to Guatemala just recently. When did you get back? Just like a week?
We left the end of January. We left January 30th. We returned home on February 6th.
Okay, all right. And so can you tell us about your travels? Like what were you doing out there?
I would absolutely love to. Went to Guatemala. This is the new passion of my life. And I wish I would have found it sooner, but they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And we went to Lake Atitlan. It is near San Marcos, and it's called the Valley of the Guardians. And we went for a plant ceremony, and it was ayahuasca ceremony.
Okay, so plant medicine,
Mhm,
ayahuasca.
yes,
Okay.
mhm.
And
And so um, it was kind of hard when I was first asked to go to ayahuasca. I said yes just immediately. I didn't have a clue what it was. And this was just probably 4 years ago. I had no clue. Um, Kind of taking some years back when I was young and lost and into drugs and alcohol. The people that I was around, we would do what was called mushrooms, and they're still around today, but now we hear them referred to as microdosing. It's a plant medicine that helps you to, I guess, in a way, it will show you the matrix that you've created, the fear-based matrix that you've created, and it shows you a way how to take those down one block at a time to have a real picture on your window. Um, but when I was young, I didn't have anybody who knew plant medicine was actually mushrooms and that it wasn't meant for a party scene. It was actually to help you heal. So I'm around all these people and they're partying and laughing and having a good time, and it wanted to work in me. It knew I had some deep hurts, even more so than I did. I knew I was troubled, but I didn't have any idea of how deep it went. And so instead of me joining the party, I wanted to find the deepest, darkest corner and curl up in it, going, I don't belong. What's wrong with me? I need to go be by myself. And that was the medicine wanting to work in me then. So I had got a very wrong notion of what that was. And so when it was introduced to me again, I was going, oh, I can't do that. That doesn't jive with me. So I had to do some reconfiguring in my mind that this wasn't a party. This isn't a drug. This is a beautiful medicina that is here to heal body, mind, and spirit and bring them into one.
and so can you tell us what it's like during one of these ceremonies? Like who's around you? Do you have people that are assisting you? Are you by
Oh,
yourself?
yeah. Mm-mm.
So
So usually it's beautiful. So where we were in Guatemala, it's a beautiful retreat center. They call it the temple that you go into, and they have mats. It's usually in a round setting, and then there's a center where they had an altar where they had candles burning and incense and things like that. Um, There's facilitators. This particular facilitator is an ordained minister. He talked about so many things. It was beautiful. Very wise person and has done a lot of healing. And he truly has a heart to bring this beautiful medicine to people and allow them to do it in a safe setting. So you're in a group. Um, there can be men and women both in the group. There's very good guidance and instruction, especially for people if it's your first time. It can be very scary. The unknown is what has driven us to a lot of areas anyway. And so he gives very good instruction of what is going to happen, what you can expect. It's a very gentle introduction the first night. The music is beautiful. The music and the medicine are one. They guide you in. You can see some visuals in when you're in the medicine. It's a drink. It's made of a vine. It's from the motherland, Peru. They know it there and have grown up with it there. It's nothing foreign to them like what they've made it here in like the United States. Um, and so it's something you drink. It's not really pleasant. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's got a, yeah, it's a very strong taste. But then once you drink it, you go back to your mat and you sit and they play music and you allow the medicine to move through you. And I guess the way I explain it is when I start to get that visual effect, I call it the pure energy of God. It's colors like you've never seen. Um, it's like you're looking into your own DNA
Wow.
because that's where you're going in to extract the emotional hurt that's been trapped. Mm.
And so after that, so then it, are you talking about it? Are you just
Yes.
journaling
No.
it or okay.
Yes, all of the above. You are journaling. You are, while you're in ceremony, you're doing the journey yourself, because it's self-exploration. Um, you can look around and see what's going on in the room. The musicians and the assistants are singing and moving around, and there's just a lot of help there if you get in a spot where you're not sure where you're at and the energy is stuck. You've always got assistance to help you move through that and figure out what that is. And then you have your time the next day where you journal and you think and you process, and you're still in that process. I'm still fairly new at plant medicine. This was my second ceremony, but this one was so incredibly beautiful. I felt a lot more guided, a lot more secure in what I was to be feeling. And I did some amazing ancestral trauma healing. Um, it, it opened a portal of understanding that had me puzzled my whole life. Why I got myself into situation after situation that I did. And so all of that ancestral trauma healing helped me to answer that question. And it was beautiful. And if nobody knows or much about ancestral trauma healing, the beauty of it is you set your ancestors free from that burden. You set yourself free, and you get the beauty of setting 7 generations free.
Oh, I see so much emotion coming through right now. And I myself have done ancestral healing, and that's something that I work on as well. And it is rumored that I'm part Iroquois, which is where the seven generation actually came
Mhm.
from the Iroquois. And so that, like, your emotion is just transferring right over into my heart because yeah, we don't want to pass on those chains. We don't want to pass on those dysfunctions,
Mm-mm.
but
No.
times we don't know what to do or how to get out of them. And so I have heard that with plant medicine that it can open up these channels that maybe you wouldn't get to in therapy, or not
Mhm.
a lot faster. Um,
Yeah.
well, I'm happy that you were willing to share about that experience. I know that that wasn't really, that's not really what you do here in town
Mhm.
as far as your business goes. You do other things, but I can imagine that there are things that happen there that are helping you here with the work that you are doing.
Oh, absolutely. The trapped emotion connection to illness, it's full circle. You have to address the body physically, but that will only go so far. And then you have to address it emotionally and find out what is trapped that is trying to express itself through this disease that needs to be resolved and put away.
Yeah, there's such a mental health epidemic right now, and I really attribute a lot of that to our upbringings and our suppression of emotions, our suppression of even our intuition. Um,
Mhm.
and it does create problems in the body.
Yeah, it does.
And I
And
want
I would just like to say, "Aho, sister," because I myself am Iroquois. My
you are? I did
Mhm.
not know that.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yeah, I
I
think that's why you felt it so profoundly in the heart.
I think so. I think so. I'm just sitting here going, I wonder if she knows. But of course you do. Of course you
Mhm.
do. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's amazing. I did not know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yep.
Yeah, aho, my friend. Aho.
Oh.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Uh,
So you do offer light and frequency treatments.
mhm,
And I believe that light and sound were the earliest forms of medicine. And I've actually been told that those modalities will bring in new healing technologies. And so I wanted to
mhm.
ask you how you feel about these modalities and how they're changing the way that we look at medicine.
Oh, absolutely, that's such a passion of mine. Um, of course, sound and frequency and vibration have been around. Just think, drumming. But not only that, the heartbeat that we feel when we're in utero in our mother, it's sound, vibration. It's something that we are so naturally drawn to as a healing aspect. Um, I work with what's called a Rife machine. Um, and it works through the frequency moving through the air and moving into the body, into the cellular aspect, and looking for things that resonate at that same frequency. So, eyes have a frequency, ears have a frequency, throat, heart, liver, lymphatic, kidneys, pancreas, and the body responds very well to frequency because it's like second nature to us. That's how we resonate. We have a meat suit on, but that meat suit holds us together, but everything on the inside vibrates. It's very vibrant and alive. And I also think that frequency is the future of medicine because it's so non invasive, very non invasive. And the most powerful thing about it is it can go places in the body that medicine and doctors cannot go. You know,
Tell,
I've
tell me
heard
more. I want
I've,
to know
I've
that.
heard I've heard people say come to me with stories like, "Oh, the doctor went in and he told me he couldn't get it all." and so then there's this fear left over. There's everything that, and the frequency can go everywhere a doctor can't. My
Yeah.
father died of a brain tumor. If I would have had this when he was sick, I probably could have helped him. But it was called an astronomasarcoma. So it had fingers growing through his brain, and there was nothing they could do. Frequency can go there, and it does no harm to the healthy cells in the body. So healthy cells just continue to get fed and uplifted and more supported, while the diseased cells, they just kind of blast apart and disintegrate and get eliminated through the body through the avenues of elimination. So that's the beauty I see in the future of frequency medicine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that you also do some light therapies, some red light therapies. And
Yes.
can you tell us about that? Because red light therapy is FDA approved. Um,
Yes.
I'm an
Yeah.
esthetician, so and it was created for the astronauts, if I remember.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
I'd love to hear about the light therapies.
Yeah, light therapy. So it's just like, to explain it in a way where everybody can grasp a hold of this and kind of get my meaning. It's like the first sunlight in spring after a really cold winter, and you go outside and you don't have your coat on, and you almost feel yourself, you're like this little plant reaching up for the sun, because that photosynthesis is making your cells grow. It's feeding them. So that's on the yellow spectrum of the light aspect. Red is a different light spectrum because of what it feeds, but it eliminates anxiety, depression. It feeds on a cellular level that's deep, and it penetrates the whole cell. So it's not just the outside, it actually gets to the inside out. And that's why it's so beneficial. Red light um, will decrease inflammation, and therefore it will help in pain relief. The anxiety and depression is what I think is the most amazing about it, because and it's factual. You think about being without the sun, like people in Alaska, they go without sun for so long. Look at the depression aspect there. They're cut off from the light. When we're cut off from the light, nothing gets fed
Yeah, that is,
spiritually, bodily, emotionally.
yes. Well, and I know that light helps with digestion.
Yep.
I know that there's some people that put light therapy over their bellies to help aid
Yes.
digestion. And
Mhm.
yeah, there's just so much to it.
Well, the aspect of that is because it removes the inflammation from that delicate tissue. So when we get inflammation in the GI tract, what that looks like is little barbs flare up inside that tissue. And so when stuff is trying to flow by, it actually gets stuck in those little barbs, which make them push up more, and then the inflammation sets in, and then nothing is flowing. So as we sweep it out with that red light and remove that inflammation, those little barbs get to lay down and be calm. And then that's why the digestion starts to be more profound.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I love that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So in the work that you do, and you do many things, what are your favorite tools and machines that you use?
Ooh, that's not a fair question. No. Um,
Get it. All of the above.
I love them all because my business name is called Lighten You Up. And it was the concept behind that of elimination of toxins and things that weigh the body down and don't allow us to absorb. I do the ionic foot bath detox, which allows people to help their liver, kidneys, lymphatic system. It eliminates inflammation and toxic metals. You know, So that's a good one. My red light therapies are amazing. I do an infrared sauna wrap, which is a deep cellular inflammation removal and detoxification, helps with weight loss, sleep, it improves skin. Um, I have a new modality that I'm not going to reveal just yet, but when this community is so ready for it, and it's almost ready to launch, so I'm excited about that one. But I do believe my Rife therapies are my favorite to work with. They're so uplifting. But my ultra favorite one is my remote Rife machine. It works off of the aspect of quantum physics. So that's kind of a tough subject. I'm not even going to go into that really, but I can work with people remotely. I actually work with a truck driver who drives all 50 states, and I am working with him right now as we speak because of his fingernail. And it's called quantum entanglement. And once a month he stops in and sees me. I get a piece of his fingernail. I program in a biofeedback scan. I run it, and then I put together a set for him. And his macular degeneration has improved 100%. His eyesight is getting better and better and better every time, which is important because he's a truck driver. But
For sure.
and I'm working on his COPD, which is getting better. And so that's exciting to me that God has placed such an amazing therapy that I can work with people and they don't even have to be here in my studio in order to receive the healing. Now, how it works is kind of like a radio station. So, on a really clear, good day, you're looking for a radio station. All of a sudden, something comes in and it's from another state. And you're like, wow, how am I getting this station so clear? The magic of the frequencies and
Oh,
the airwaves that carry them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that quantum physics is amazing, and that's something that I have studied. And I actually have a drinkable sunscreen that uses the science of quantum physics. Um,
Oh,
you drink it, and it's the frequency. The frequency will go through the body and dissolve or neutralize the frequency of the sun. And so there is so much out there
mhm,
that we
mhm.
discovered that, and this is new. I didn't know that you did it remotely.
Yeah, it's what's called quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement is the aspect of if I grow a fingernail on my body and then cut a piece of it and give it to Sheri for healing, Sheri is connected to me wherever I am.
Wow.
Now, my other Rife machines that I have, I can also broadcast with them. But in order for that to be effective, I need to know their address, and I broadcast when I know their home
I
because
see.
I'm going to be sending that to their address. But with this new one, remote, I don't even have to know where you're at. You just live your life, you go about your business, and the healing comes to you.
Oh my goodness.
I
And so
love
I,
it.
I assume that if you're feeling good, that something's happening, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I have so many clients that are like, this works. We don't know. I have one of my clients just calls me the voodoo lady. She's like,
Funny.
I don't know, but what you do, it works. And I'm
Right,
like,
right, right.
it's all because that wonderful God that we have.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, prayer is healing too, right? And you don't have to be in the same room for
Mm-mm.
prayer. And I don't know if anyone has ever, or you, Sheri, have ever tried to dissolve clouds with your mind. Have you ever tried to do that?
No.
Yeah, so I met a massage therapist years ago, and she told me that you can actually pick out clouds and you just tell them, thank you, but you can go now. And you just focus on that cloud dissolving. And I swear to you, my husband and I have done it many times. And you don't pick a big giant cloud, you pick
Well, yeah.
a cloud, but even when there's multiples, those other ones will be there still, but yours will be gone. And
Oh my
so,
gosh.
like, there is definitely something going on, something powerful going on, um, with intention and
Mm.
prayer and frequency that we just don't have the explanation or the technology in order to really describe it, I think.
Well, I think one of the most important things to remember and to work on, and this is part of that body, mind, spirit connection, is the pineal gland. The pineal glands are our God gland. It's our intuition gland. And so, learning about that, just knowing where it's at in the body and being able to focus on that and do good things like watercress is one of the best foods you can eat. And it's all about the nutrients. It's so nutrient dense, watercress, that it has aspects in it that will not allow the pineal gland to be calcified.
Really?
So I would encourage everyone to either find a watercress tincture, watercress cut and sifted herb, or if your local market can order it in for you. However, watercress, most nutrient dense food on the planet, protector of the pineal gland.
Wow, which is great. Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, I wanted to ask you, what has been the most unexpected thing that you've learned in the work that you do? What's kind of taken you by, like really by surprise or just unexpected?
I guess it's the elevation of my own healing.
Wow.
When you truly have a heart and come from a place of compassion, and that compassion brings you to people who need healing, and they heal, you heal. It's just a magical connection. It's almost just as baffling as the quantum physics. But when you truly want to help someone at a level that takes you out of yourself, there's no way that you cannot raise your own vibration.
And you know what that is bringing to heart and to mind is in the scripture where it says, when two or more come together, I will be there,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, those pure hearts, those pure intentions of, I mean, it's not sacrifice. It's really just showing up for each other, right?
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
passing on the knowledge. You had said that, you know, what you've gleaned, you want to share that with us.
Yes.
Like, we're not holding on to it. That's why we're here, is we're not holding on to it. It's not top secret, but we
Mhm.
want to pass that on so that there is the healing that we really need to see.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you know, like in a doctor's office, I hear people say, "God, I see the same people all the time. They're always there. They're always there. They're always there." For me, whenever a client comes into my home, I hope they always leave as a friend. I'm into building community. I'm into building relationship. I want a friendship that goes on, that they can call me at any time. But I don't want them to keep coming back and coming back and coming back unless it's just as a friend. I want them to heal of their affliction, whatever it is. If it's emotional, I want to help them surface out what that is. That body, mind, spirit, I want them well. And when they come in my door, it's to visit as a friend. I don't want them to keep coming back because something isn't healing. That's not what we're here for.
No,
We're not meant to live a life attached to a pill or a prescription or oxygen or anything like that. We're here to live as a free people and to be as healthy as we possibly can. And there's just some of the ways in how they've gone, it doesn't allow people to be that way. And for us in the fields that we are, that's what we want. We want our clients to get well and to not come back for a healing because that's where they're at.
That's
They've
right.
become their own medicine.
Yes. The progression is my passion too. It's like when I see them and they're doing great and they're, I want them to not need me. And like you said,
Mhm.
love to be friends and have those connections. And we live
Yes.
down, so we see people all the time. But yeah, to be able to release and let go of whatever it is that is creating those disturbances is
Mhm.
is a beautiful goal for sure.
Yep, and that's a ripple that goes out and
Yes.
continues to heal.
Yeah.
It's a ripple.
Yes. Yes, it is. I
Mm,
love it. Yeah, the ripple.
yeah.
So, speaking of ripples, what inspired you to start your business? There had to have been some ripples that were going on that brought
Yeah,
you into working
yeah.
in this field.
I got clean and sober, and I started a life of transformation. I started out at a young age smoking. I think my first cigarette was 10. Um, Hanging out with just older girls and, not happy with who I was and not good enough the way I was and looking for anything to mask that, and then it turned to alcohol and, and then methamphetamine. Methamphetamine was my last, and it was, I thought I was more in control and all that, but the poison that I had in my mind, it that's what made me get clean and sober is my own poison. And so when I got clean and sober, I knew I had to start to reverse, some of the damage that had been done. And so, started focusing on eating cleaner, reconnecting with my family was a big thing. I had disappeared for 10 years. They thought I was dead, you know,
Wow.
10 years, they had no choice. So to reconnect with them and let them know I was okay and to relieve them of that burden, was a huge releasing of poison. And then there was the exercise journey and then, all of this. And I was doing really good. And then I ended up getting a parasite and I got it from a dental procedure. And these spirochetes, when they're in our mouths, they're very healthy. They take care of gingivitis, gum disease, everything like that. They're very healthy. But if they get trapped in the body, like say with a root canal or a pulled tooth that doesn't heal, they're in that blood. And then if you swallow the blood or they get trapped in there, then they're in an environment that's not theirs. And so I had that dental procedure done, and then in a matter of 3 weeks, I thought I had West Nile virus. That's how
Wow.
sick I was. I just barely made it to work and then home. So I went to a local chiropractor. He did a live blood analysis on me, and he let me know I had a parasite, and it was a pretty awful one. It shut down my adrenal glands. It attacked my heart, my liver, and my kidneys in the matter of 3 weeks. I mean, I was pretty close to being West Nile. He's like, that was pretty good for the, analysis for what you're feeling. And so that started my journey of a different type. I completely revamped the way I ate. No sugar, trying not to give that thing a comfortable environment. I had to do water softener salt soaks. I'd just get bags of water softener salt and soak in it because it had created a mold and a fungus in my body I couldn't get rid of. And so through this process, it took me 9 years,
Wow.
9 years to get rid of that parasite because it would go dormant the minute that I would start a new parasite protocol or something. It would go dormant. So it was like, nope, you're not going to kill me off. Um, so it was just one therapy after another, and the foot detoxes to continue to eliminate. The infrared sauna wrap for the deep heat to sweat and eliminate. I did some massive glutathione pushes to help my liver to be able to uh, eliminate the toxins. I actually did a round of peptides. I love peptides. I think peptides are so healing, and peptide therapy is amazing for deep cellular restoration and mitochondrial proliferation to keep them going and building. Um, the only thing that I didn't have access to was a rife machine at that time. Um, but I was also working at a big corporation, and COVID hit.
Oh, wow.
And they were leaning towards a mandatory vaccine to stay working there. And I'm for everybody having their choice. And my choice was no, it's not for me. And it's not just that one. I haven't done them since I became an adult on my own. And so I thought I have got to have an out game. I have got to, if they go mandatory, I have to have something to fall back on. And God just said, you said the magic words. And I started putting all of this together. And then they didn't go mandatory vaccine. And God says, but this is your path. What you have right now is a paycheck. I'm offering you a purpose for my people.
Wow.
And so here I am today.
Yeah. I have a lot of, we have a lot of clients that are similar. And so I hear a lot about you, and you are very loved in our community. And
Oh,
yeah, yeah, very much so. I hear a lot about you. And so I wanted to pass that on to you.
thank you so much. That's, yeah,
Yeah.
we're not in it for that, but it does feel good to know that you're just honored when, you know,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and I wanted to ask you what you feel most grateful for. And so you're again filled with all of this beautiful emotion. I'm hoping
yeah,
that you tap
that's something
in.
I'm working on. No, I think emotion is great,
It
because
is.
I think emotion shows our passion. It's what lights us up, and if if something is important enough that it cracks me open to let out tears, to show how much I, that I believe in this, it's all good in my world. I used to kind of be like, oh, I can't, that was one thing. Oh, we can't, got to
Right.
be all put together. But the one thing I'm grateful for, the most grateful for, um, I would have to say it is my journey with plant medicine, and the elimination of these deep, deep, deep hurts that weren't even mine when I came into this world with, but I chose it as part of my path to heal it because I think ancestral trauma healing is an honor. I think it's a beautiful gift. It is tragic, it is painful, it is hard, but most of the hardest things in life are just beautiful. They're a gift. Um, and my relationship with God, I never thought the ancestral trauma healing that I healed was deep self-loathing and self-hatred.
Oh, wow.
And this went generations back. I mean, it went so far back that it was unbelievable to me how far and how deep it was in the DNA. And it explained to me why I got myself into the situations that I did. It wasn't because I thought I was unlovable or unwanted. That was part of it, but I thought I deserved to do things to make me loathe myself and to hate myself. And so with that huge offload of that, um, I opened up this space and I talked to Jaya, and I said, now that I've created this huge chasm inside of me that's empty, that's emptied out, I says, now my journey, I guess, is to figure out where to find the love and the good things to fill it with. And he grabbed my hands. This is the facilitator. He grabbed my hands and he said, "Dear Sheri," he said, "why do you need to fill it with anything?"
Oh my goodness.
He said, "You've just found the God within you. You've
Wow.
stuffed so much stuff in there that you couldn't find him. You couldn't see your connection. You couldn't see that you were one with him." He says, "You don't need to fill that space with anything. That's love."
Wow.
And so it's just been expanding since that. My relationship with God has been incredibly beautiful. And I mean, I've always believed, I've always prayed, but that deep down aspect of me that thought that I didn't deserve it. And just in this last few weeks since I've been home, the upgrades and downloads, everything, the energy, the ascending on the frequencies, and just the curiosity that he has given me into how to make this relationship more. And what he told me was, "Sheri, you are the resurrection and the life of your business. So whatever you want, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do it and let's take it to the world." And then here's Janae Robinson giving me the most beautiful opportunity in the world to send it out there.
Well, it's funny because I'm a Reiki master teacher, and my Reiki is Christ energy. That's what I use. I don't use all of the energies. I use Christ energy, and I just visualize him behind me, sending his energy through me
Beautiful.
onto my clients. And so I'm finding that we just have these multiple connections within ourselves and how we feel, and just the spirit, the the guide, right? The spirit guides.
Mhm.
And also I wanted to really just honor your vulnerability here, because when you are completely empty and there is nothing, right?
Mhm.
That is spirit, right? It's like
Yeah.
that's the womb. It's this the void.
Yep.
And but that's where vulnerability is. So don't suck back your tears. We do enough of that in our society, right? Because what is that going to do? It's going to get stuck in the body.
Yep.
It's going to create
Yep.
something. So, and this is something that I'm really just learning now, is how to cry, because I've had to be strong. I've had to keep my feet firm and keep going. At least I thought that I had to do that. And
Mhm.
so over time, figuring out that no, I don't have to do that. There is vulnerability in emotion. There is vulnerability in our spirituality, and those face-to-face meetings with God. I mean, those
Mhm.
are incredible places to be and to feel from. And what I see is that it really does change your physiology to where it's empowering you. I don't see you getting tired. I see you just keep going. You just keep showing up. You're loving life. And it's like, you're powered by something else.
Yes, I
Not
am.
yourself.
Yep. Nope, I take no credit. I ask God to make me an instrument of his love, his healing, his compassion, however he wants to use me in a day. Let's do it. And you're right about vulnerability. It's I think that's one of the best things we can share with people, to be vulnerable. It's okay. Vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's not. It's being able to look at all those things and embrace every part of yourself, because in order to heal something, we have to embrace it and love it first to let it go. As long as we resist it, it's going to stay and it's going to manifest and it's going to fester,
Right.
you
And
know.
I know for myself, I had just found myself in this area of protection. And so that's where my vulnerability had started to shut down. Was I just felt so misunderstood. I felt such a black sheep. I
Mhm.
just had all of these
Yeah.
things that created this shell of protection. And I'm at a place now where it's like I don't need that protection anymore. I don't need that. I've found my way through, and I can start letting those things go. So I'm hoping to have an empty chasm here someday myself,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, we just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
We just keep moving forward. Stay curious.
Yeah.
Stay curious. Question everything.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Well, and I wanted to just ask you, you know, what was your perspective on the healing arts when you were young? Like, did you have a perspective at all, or was it more just that survival mode of, you know, the the generational traumas and really just trying to survive the best that you could? Or did you have any views on healing back then?
I was in straight survival mode. I was adopted, so my birth mother was a single, unwed mom, and her mother, my grandmother, went into complete fear and panic mode because she herself was raised by a single mother, and it was trauma and not good for her. So she saw history repeating herself and she was like, there is no way. And so when I was in utero inside my mother, there was tension. There was a sense of I wasn't wanted. I wasn't loved, and it wasn't that my grandmother didn't love me. It wasn't that. It's just how she put it forth. She told my mom, "You're not mother material. There's no way you're raising this baby. This baby isn't staying with you. You are putting this baby up for adopt." So I felt all of this tension. So when I was born, I've said this ever since I can remember. I was born scared. I had 1,000 forms of fear. I'm not wanted. I was abandoned. Not only was I separated from God, and then when I was born, I was separated from my mother, and then I was separated from her. I didn't get to see her. She didn't get to hold me. No breast milk, no anything, none of those vital things, not that golden hour to be held and know that I'm loved and I'm bonded with. So all of these just basic natural things that happen, the bonding, the feeling loved, the nourishment of the colostrum, the antibodies, everything like that, I didn't get it. And so I was in pure survival mode. I mean, I clung to my adopted mom. When they got me, I didn't want to go to school. No way. You are not separating me from my mother again. And I'll tell you what, she had to pry me out from underneath the table to get me to go to school. And then I was a bully's dream. I mean, I was, and then just justification more. I'm unwanted. I'm unloved. People are going to be mean to me. And I was in just pure survival mode. I, music, music was the one thing that saved me. And I would go in my room and I would turn on the radio. And I didn't like a lot of music, but there were those love songs, there were those ballads, there were those things that reached in and touched my heart. So that was my therapy. The music was my therapy,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. And then once I found the drugs, and the alcohol, you know, it was just I knew I had a path. I just, you know, just had to get really lost in order to get back to find it. But I don't waste one hurt. I don't waste one situation. I don't waste anything because it took every one of those steps, every one of those situations, every one of those, incomprehensible, demoralizing situations. Each of those steps got me closer to being the person that I am. And I don't want to be anywhere near. being done learning, because I am having such an amazing time right now being this curious student that is questioning and examining and looking at things I never thought I would, and growing. And I'm forever a student and I'm forever a teacher. And I absolutely love where I'm at.
I love that. Thank you. Well, I wanted to just extend my deepest gratitude to you for coming on today and sharing your life, your wisdom, your medicine. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to let any listeners who want to try to find you to know how they can find you.
Awesome. Well, yes. So, um, I'm in Burley, Idaho. So if anybody's around in that area, you can pretty much ask quite a few people and they'll know where I'm at. My email address is skt9994@yahoo.com. I also have a Facebook page that is Sheri Big Love. Big Love is all one word. And I do have a website. It's lightenyouup.com. So that is lightnuup.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, again,
Janae, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Your inspiration, your drive and desire in the year of the snake honors you. And I'm so just pleased and honored to be a part of this. Um, and thank you for loving my vulnerability.
absolutely. Absolutely. I love authenticity, and it can be rare. And so, and just to see how freely and natural that it comes to you, it's my honor, actually. So, all right, well, let's say goodbye to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. I wish everybody light, love, and healing.
awesome.